Okay, here we go. Hi everyone. I've been walking and talking since 9 a.m.
It's a good day though. It's a good day to do it.
It is a good day.
Sunny. Night. It was a little breeze, but it's hot.
Bit of a train wreck. I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm hungry. I'm all the things. I'm all of the emotions right now.
Yeah, that's what they tell you in AA. Don't be hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
I'm all those things.
You're headed for a relapse.
Oh, dude. Nope. I'm not. That is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna talk about, for entertainment and educational purposes only, but we're gonna talk about part 2 of sex and porn addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I know you couldn't wait to get here this
Couldn't
week,
wait, man. I thought about it all week.
Yes, but did you practice it?
I tried to be mindful this week. Yeah, since the topic has been up. Yeah.
Okay, so I have in front of me that the last thing we talked about when porn turns into addiction. Signs of porn addiction.
Okay.
We're just gonna start there, I guess.
Okay.
How do you know when addiction goes south? Or how do you know when your porn viewing or your sexual exploitations have turned into something not good? You can't stop, you want more, you've lost time, you've lost interest in sex, which is the irony.
It is
right?
irony.
Like,
yeah.
what the heck?
Yeah.
Okay, you're more demanding physically in the bedroom, you've lost attraction, you're in physical pain, wrist, neck, back, headaches, you deserve it. Just kidding. This is serious.
It's just been the wrist for me. It's just been the carpal tunnel.
Yeah, you're losing money, you're distracted, your mind drifts to porn, you're angry at obstacles to viewing porn, everyday life gets in the way. Nah, that's just couples talking about what they can do together, which we can talk about. If you guys need good ideas, just shoot us a text or a email, and we can give you good resources for having porn and sex conversations. Do you know what I know for sure, James?
What's that?
If you haven't had sex with your partner in a year, we should have conversations with you. You should check in to your relationship.
Yeah.
Healthy sex lives are 3 times a week.
Yeah, and I know I'll probably get shot down for saying this and comments and stuff, but when a man doesn't get fulfilled at home, that's when they start looking elsewhere. I mean, if you're in a relationship, in a marriage, and you're at home and your spouse is not paying you any attention, or you haven't had sex in months, and then you go to the grocery store and Sally says, hey, you're cute.
How is it that easy though? Like this morning I was thinking about, like, when did the world turn to this? Because it's so sexualized.
It is.
Was it always this way?
Well, I mean, I don't think, no. I have seen it.
What happened? The internet?
The internet, the access. Because we read some statistics last week about the kids having the access to it and talked about we had magazines and stuff, but it's just so much.
Probably the internet. Now we're finally seeing, like, those kids that had internet, because this is the first generation that was born with technology in their hands. Yeah. They're about 20 now.
Yeah. And they're just, the world's at your fingertips. You can literally Google anything and get it. And so, and then, I think last week we touched on, like, pop-ups used to come up back when, internet first started. You'd be on doing work and something, all of a sudden, bloop, there it is. It's like, whoa. Yeah. Or kids would be on video games and bloop, there it is.
Yeah, that's what's happening. They're getting pop-ups on their video games.
So, yeah. But it's, I don't want to say it's that easy, but like I said, when you have desires and you actually with somebody and you want them to want you and they don't, it's tough. You know what I mean? So it's not that. So
instead of, like, I get that, I hear you.
Yeah.
But, like, if that's happening, then why wouldn't you turn to your partner and say, we got to do something?
Sure. Instead
of, like, Sally at the grocery store, or like what stops a guy from going to their partner and saying, we got to check in.
Yeah.
Before this gets carried away. I mean.
And you should.
Walk me through that. Somebody walk me through that.
No, what if you do and it's still to no reciprocation?
I work with so many guys that never get there. They're just like,
That's
she
true.
got all these kids, she's gained weight, I'm not attracted to her anymore.
That's
like,
true.
I feel like before people get that far down the line, like, why aren't you guys, not pointing fingers or throwing daggers, but why aren't we having those conversations early in the relationship, in the marriage, setting those expectations?
Sure, they should be. They should be. Lack of communication is definitely it.
Like, what would we be doing if there wasn't porn online? That.
Cheating. I want to think this. I don't know the statistics, and maybe we can look that up. But maybe porn is stops some as much cheating. Or do you think it causes more? I don't know. I mean, if you know, if
that's
you're
a really good question.
Yeah, like if you're a wife, you and your wife, or you and your girlfriend ain't having sex regularly, and there's tension in the relationship, or there's things going on. You know, if a man turns or woman turns to the porn for satisfaction instead of going outside the marriage or the relationship, is that a good thing?
So the question is, do people that watch pornography cheat less?
Cheat less.
Or more?
Or more.
Because eventually it's going to lead into cheating if it's not caught in time.
Well, yeah, like we talked about the escalation of watching it. You're going to move to different material or, you know, trying to, you know, pretty soon that same level of material that you're watching ain't going to satisfy you. So it's going to escalate to watching something different and then something different and something different. And so, you know, then
and like child porn. Like,
yeah, that's a whole.
Has this always been happening and we just didn't know it?
Yeah.
Here's a thing that happened when years ago, I was doing research on dating websites. And one of the dating websites, I noticed that there were a ton of men with pictures of kids. And I was like, why are we doing that? Why are you putting your kid in your profile on dating apps? So there was a common theme. They were pictures with kids and just like NASCAR photos, just rando NASCAR photos. It was the guy was the first one, or a guy, like, I don't know, dumb stuff, NASCAR. But when you scroll down, the very last picture consistently was him with a little kid. And if you scroll in on those photos, which is what I did, there was a guy sprawled out on this couch, and he had a little kid, couldn't have been 4 years old, with a tablet in his hand, sitting between his legs, and this guy had his big gold watch, and it was clearly he was sitting in a cabin somewhere. So I scrolled in, and I'm like, and after I found like 3 or 4 of those pictures, I turned it into the Domestic Violence Network, and then they called their sex, what do you call it, the squad for porn, child trafficking. But they're hidden right in plain sight, these people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, like, I've watched documentaries on child porn and child porn, and like the men, they can't talk about it because it is now a thing, and who are they going to talk to? Who are they going to tell? Because if someone discloses to us,
right? Yeah.
If you're hurting a child, we have to tell.
We have
like,
to.
who are you going to talk to? Do you know what I mean?
I'm yeah,
like
100%.
We're between a rock and a hard place.
Well,
like,
we would have to
even help them.
No, we have to turn them in by law, by our licensure. We have to report that if a child or an elderly person is being injured.
Where do those people go? Who are they talking to?
Priest, maybe? I don't know.
Do priests have to tell? Do they have an obligation?
I
Isn't
don't think
that the
so.
law?
I don't think they do. Because I've seen things where they can go in and confess murders and they don't tell or whatever.
What? Really?
I think so.
They don't have an obligation like us?
I'm not 100%, but I don't think so. I don't think. They're not licensed by the state or anything.
You shuffle them around. No offense, Catholics.
They're not licensed by the state or anything or regulated. Only by God.
Okay, that's another question we have then. Like, are priests obligated to tell? Because that was the documentary, like, I think it was Europe. They're trying to do something about the pedophilia. And they were like, we have to find a way for the men that are doing this to talk about it and not get in trouble. Because there are guys that will watch it but don't act on it. And then there are guys that will watch and act. And like, there's no place for them to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sad. But I consider that, like, when you're at that level, I consider that a sickness.
Well, look
like,
at the news guy.
I
You would never in a million years think that guy. I mean, he was Mr. Apple Pie in baseball games.
He was.
And, like,
what? He was.
I don't know. This whole child porn, child trafficking thing is astounding to me. And the bigger problem is, like, what kids have access to live video feeds that started this thing because of a pop-up on their video game, and some joker comes in from the left and says, hey, want to share pictures?
Yep. And then they get the pictures naked and then they blackmail them. We'll send it to your school, to your parents, to your friends. We'll destroy your life. And the next thing you know, they make them do more and more and more by blackmailing.
And then other things that I see, like with pornography, is I'm gonna call it mind meld that happens, because you start out just looking at a couple of people humping, right? Yep. And then eventually it turns into, now I'm bored with that, let me watch girl on girl, and it eventually leads to, I'm not talking about lesbian sex or gay sex, anything like that. I'm talking about it just.
Right.
You're just curious, and you're moving around and moving around and moving around until eventually it is going to be animals and kids, and we talked about that last week. But the other thing too and we're going to talk about sex addiction this week. Like, eventually you're going to come across these chat rooms. Eventually there's going to be Sugar Baby and what's the other, Ashley Madison cheating, like. Prostitutes, they're rampant all over the place. And then the chat rooms, that's a gateway. The porn is the gateway drug to chat rooms. And I mean, oh my gosh,
I'm gonna be honest,
chat rooms,
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know chat rooms existed, but
How did you miss the chat room boat?
I mean, back in the day, like when I was younger, in the AOL chat rooms and stuff like that. I know.
Yeah, that was.
No, I'm serious. I had no clue. Like right now, I had no clue.
Like Backpage.
Nope, I had no clue.
There's porn on Instagram, TikTok. All the social medias have porn. All of them.
The only one I knew about porn being on is X, Twitter. I know I've seen a lot on there.
Oh yeah, it's my.
I've never seen it on.
His favorite place was Instagram.
I've never seen it on Instagram or TikTok.
What are you doing there? Watching funny cats? Oh,
yep, funny cat.
Okay, okay, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff. I didn't know it existed on those sites.
Oh yeah.
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 I didn't know.
And once you figure it out, huh?
Like Twitter, I did know. I've seen it on there a lot, but not on Instagram.
Yeah, he was a tweeter.
Or Facebook, or I've never seen like porn on Facebook or porn on Instagram. I've never seen porn on TikTok. Only just like I don't know. I don't know if it's like. It's not a separate search thing or something. Yeah, I don't know, but I've never.
Yeah, it is. It's hidden under pictures of girls in bikinis. Like this morning. Oh my gosh, this is what made me mad today, and I got on the whole child porn thing, is because I'm on kids' funny videos on social media, and the very first picture that's just been on my social media all day, I couldn't figure out how to get rid of it, was a girl spread eagle. And I'm like,
on TikTok?
How is this on kids' funny videos page? Like, and I could not, I reported it, I couldn't get rid of it. Every time I opened my phone, there she was, and I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, they have funny kids and funny animals, and then there's this girl, spread eagle, and it's showing in the, like, what is happening?
It's scary because I have a grandson and he loves his tablet. He loves it. He watches kid videos all day. He plays games on it. He just loves it. That's scary. And my granddaughter too. But she does other little things on there and educational stuff. But that's scary, just knowing that anything could pop up like that at any time on him. They're too young for that. But to answer you, when you was talking about did it happen early, so I'm from Detroit, and I read this thing. I was doing research on the different things, and I read this thing about in my neighborhood at the time I was a child, they were snatching kids and taking them to this island or whatever this was out there, and these grown men, and so it was a big thing back then. I don't know. It was in the 70s, so I don't know. But it scared me to death because I'm like, I used to run around all over the place in Detroit as a kid. And back then your parents...
Of course they're going to take them from Detroit.
Well, back then your parents didn't, they just being before the street light comes on, it wasn't like we had no cell phones. We didn't check in. We didn't do those type of things. Yep. We just played all day until there was nobody left. And so that scared me. I was like, man, I could have, geez. Yeah, but it's been going on since the beginning of time. Definitely has. Just now, and I've heard there's like intricate, like even foreign countries like that they send and trade child pornography and sell it back and forth. It's a whole, I don't know.
The dark web.
Yeah, it's a whole
People
thing.
tell me about the dark web. And
Me
I'm
too.
Like, how you going in there? What are you doing? How you find it? And they're like, oh, it's everywhere. You want to buy an organ?
Yeah, I've always heard that too, and I don't know. I've never personally indulged.
But you hear it from our clients.
I hear it.
The dark web is the devil.
For the longest, I thought it was.
Anything.
For the longest, I just thought it was a myth. Like, come on, there's no way, like
teachers paying off their student debt, selling feet pictures.
Yeah, well, Feet Finder, I've heard of that.
Yeah, Feet Finder. Yeah.
But
not gonna lie, a group of us looked at it at one time. I was like, you guys, check this out.
It's just feet, right?
Yeah, it's just feet.
Yeah, that's
anything
crazy.
Feet, and teachers are like, I know teachers right now personally doing it. I'm like, girl, you go. Whatever it takes.
If you got pretty feet, why not?
Why not? Somebody's gonna buy it. Toenails.
So is that
toenails? What?
So is that sex addiction? Is that porn? Is that porn
That's
addiction?
Fetish. That's fetish.
So are fetishes porn? Like, is that?
I mean,
it's
right? Considered a fetish. I would say,
yeah.
It's considered a fetish. But blonde hair, big butt, boobs, tits and ass, all the things. It's
all
fetish.
of them. Yeah. All right.
But anyway, so we could go on and on that soapbox.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
The child porn thing, I don't understand. I don't know what the answer to making that stop is, except here's the thing, like, why aren't we regulating this? How is it so easy to access, and why aren't we screaming from the rooftops about that? We want to do all these ICE raids and everything, like. Why aren't we paying attention to things that actually matter, like shutting down these porn sites? What is happening?
Yeah.
You want to shut down everybody's right to love whoever they choose. Pay attention to something that actually would make a difference and matter.
Yeah.
People are shoving Apple, what's that Apple thing? Apple Finder. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard
shoes.
of it.
They're making shoe inserts with Apple Finders now, so in case your kid gets kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ask me why this generation isn't having sex, getting married, and having babies.
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
They don't want their baby to be snatched.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm not like fear mongering. I'm not that person. It is happening, or we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, it's definitely happening.
Yeah.
And man, I'm not gonna speak on it because I don't fully remember. Oh man, I wish I did. I can't remember the name of that. They had a name for it. That you love younger.
The thing.
No, they have a name. They have a name for it actually. Like, this means that you love younger people. They have a name for it. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
Not pedophilia?
No, it's actually to make it sound like, okay, this is good. I'll get it to you. I'll get it
I
to you.
can't.
I'll bring it to you.
Admit, did you see? I had to take a big gulp. Are you that?
Yeah.
Dude, get your hands off your kids.
But
they don't like it.
But like it's when, you know,
Ugh.
but this society for me, this is just for me, and I know some people agree, might disagree, that's fine. But we keep pushing those boundaries, you know, of what's good and what's bad, right? And I know that's subjective, right? And we can push them, but you know, when do we go too far? You know, when do we
We're
go too far? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, when is enough enough? When we start giving a label to somebody that is in love with children and they're labeling it to say it's okay. I think that's too far. I just think enough's enough. Yeah, it's for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's been over the line, and we gotta shut it down.
So here's an interesting.
But how do we
thing.
shut it down? We don't.
We shut down these porn sites is a good start.
Porn sites?
And prevent people from
Well, I will say this.
From accessing.
I will say this. A lot of states have shut down porn. You can't access certain porn in different states. But listen, these hackers, computer whiz and all that, they find ways around it. You put a new VPN or whatever they call it in. I personally don't know what that is, but they say you put it in there and you can get around it. But I know several states have banned it. You can't get on.
Well, that should be a federal, nationwide, worldwide ban on pornography, like under 21 even. Shit.
But let's say this. What about, I'm going to play devil's advocate. What about the relationships that is saved?
How is porn going to save a relationship?
I mean, if you and your partner indulge in watching it and enjoy watching it and can bring spice to your sex life, it could potentially save a marriage.
I'm going to have to wrap my brain around that because...
Okay.
I mean, there are couples that engage in watching porn together and...
Yeah.
You know, you learn new positions and that's all fine and good. It's better than a book, I guess. Books are weird. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what is that medium. What's that happy medium? Because it is nice to do different things and get creative and try new stuff. But
right.
So then how do we access that information without watching porns and seeing the hanging from the chandelier stuff?
Right. I mean, you know, if it's a discussion you're having with your partner, like, yes, I enjoy it. Okay, I enjoy it as well. Let's try watching this.
How do you know what you don't know? You don't know what you don't know. So you don't know, hey, that could be fun or feel good unless you see it, someone do it, and you're like, let's try it.
Right.
Then it works and it's fun and you do it. And you...
Right. That's what
so there isn't an argument for...
Well, it could be
creativity.
positive.
It helps with the creativity.
It could be positive. And then, like I said, I just thought about, you know, and I would have liked to see the statistics on that, but how does porn affect the cheating? Like, does that go down? Because let's face it, if you're in a relationship or marriage or whatever, you would rather see your partner masturbate to porn than go cheat, obviously, right?
I have a lot of that. I'm not cheating.
Right.
I'm not with somebody else, but I am now addicted to this.
Right. And I'm not saying that it's not emotionally cheating, because it is, right? You're emotionally invested in watching other people indulge in sex, but at the same time, you're looking at the lesser of two evils. My partner going out to cheat on me with an actual person?
Do you think chat rooms are cheating?
I think and we was talking about this last week, and I'm
going to tell you something.
I think anything with your intent, it depends on what your intent is.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
One of the last things he said to me,
okay.
And he said it twice, 2 different occasions,
okay.
When we were ending the marriage because I realized what was going on. He said, well, I just think we should, because I found the chat rooms.
Okay.
And the prostitute receipts and all the things, and I was like, so I just feel like we should be able to... Saying it out loud, and he said it twice. This is information we could use at the beginning of the relationship, but he said to me twice, well, I just feel like we should be able to masturbate to strangers. Is that cheating?
Man, it's now yeah.
Hell to the yeah, that's cheating.
It is cheating.
What? Okay.
It is cheating.
That cheating? Do you have to think that long and hard?
No, I didn't.
Because every time I walked out of the house,
that's what you're doing.
There were vacations he didn't go on, and I'm like, huh.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What do you do when I go away for a week?
Right. And that's what I'm saying. If you're investing more time in these activities rather than your partner, well, hell yeah. Why is he not seeking you out? Right. He should be seeking out his partner, you, for sex and talking to you about sex and what pleasures him and how
it was too late, and that's the point of all of this. It was way too late.
Yeah,
he was way down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And hindsight is 20/20. This had been going on the entire marriage, and that's my story. But this is what this leads to. Like, eventually, you're gonna try new things, and you're gonna need that higher hit of dopamine, and then you're gonna have
absolutely
chat rooms and prostitutes and boyfriends and groups and bathhouse. Do you know there's a bathhouse in Columbus? I figured that out. Learned that.
Well, first of all,
on my way out the door.
I'm sorry. I don't want to sound naive. I'm sorry, but what is a bathhouse?
Oh, that's where we all go to the bathhouse. It's a literal big giant. I've never been in it. I was only told about it, but it's apparently there's a bathhouse. It's either closer west Columbus, but it is downtown Columbus-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you probably are familiar with what I'm talking about, but it's men go and take a big giant orgy bath together. Yeah.
Wait, so
yes,
men...
what you're hearing me say is correct. There is one of those here. Oh. Found that out on my way out the door to divorce court. There's a bathhouse. What do you mean there's a bathhouse? What's a bathhouse? What? 53 years of life. I've lived in this area, and I'm just now finding out this is a thing.
I'm just now finding at this moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna fill yours with all kinds of stuff that I learned from a sex addict.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I've had folks that they literally start in the morning finding their prostitute as soon as wife leaves the house, and then lunch hour, it's prostitute time.
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely sex addiction and porn addiction behaviors, right?
But see, I'm 60, 70, haven't had sex with my wife in 10 years.
Right.
Is it cheating?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you
haven't had sex in 10 years.
Right. And what if you're talking to your partner about it, like your frustrations, and they still go unnoticed? Or still go unanswered, then what do you do?
How do you...
Like we talked about...
We are therapists, not your therapist. How do you counsel someone through that?
Well, what I'm saying is, we talked about sex being part of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a basic need of ours as humans.
We agree on that.
Right.
But how do you counsel people through... Well, yeah, I've had sex with my wife in 2 years.
Well, yeah, I always encourage having those conversations. You got to have those hard conversations. You got to communicate.
Do you know who gets pissed at us?
But then also...
The spouse.
Yeah.
Stop going to that therapist.
Right. She's telling you to come over and have sex with me.
Get busy dying, you should be having sex.
You should be having sex. And then if you're not, I don't advocate cheating, but there's also, listen, if you're not happy with the person, then maybe you shouldn't be with the person. And I get it. People are like, well, I've been with her 20 years. I love her and this and that. Well,
and the assets and the kids and the families and I can't burn the house down. Yeah. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I hear that. That is the narrative. So
I know. I heard it too. I've heard it too.
So many times.
Listen, I'm from the school. I believe, I'm the most important person in the room, and I need to be happy, right? This is my life. I get one life in it. Now, that's not saying I'm selfish, self-centered, and all that, but we all have how we view relationships and what we need in them, right? And when you're connecting with that partner, they should align, but that takes time, dating, communication, and all those things to make sure of that. Now, things change, obviously, as time goes, right? So I don't know. You gotta
And I know
you gotta
that
do what makes you happy.
There will be hundreds of people like, 10 years no sex, 2 years no sex.
I'm sorry.
That's what we signed up for. I'm not leaving.
I didn't sign up for
that. And I can't fix it.
I didn't sign up for that. I'm sorry.
I know folks in their older years and their golden years are like, what do you want me to do? What do you expect me to do? I'm not going to not have sex. And men actually need to ejaculate or they will get sick.
Well, actually, for men, ejaculation is good for you to be doing that for reasons, health reasons.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Men need to ejaculate.
Yeah. So now, if you're in that situation and you're watching porn every day and ejaculating, is that cheating or is that having to be satisfied?
And that's where, we might have a different conversation because if your wife just refuses to if you're not able to have a good communication about sexuality in your older years, you know what? The wife knows. She knows. And she's not going to say anything to you because get what you need to get. I'm not going to freak out. Or I don't freak out on anyone. That's not the way it is. But if an older gentleman comes to me and says, it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, and that happens often enough, I'm not going to tell him to stop because it's working for their relationship and they're closer to the end than they are the beginning or the middle. And if this is the thing that works, okay. If it's a younger marriage, and then if it's a younger marriage, I might give it, try to, let's fix this now, because you can't go 40 more years here on planet Earth and just have a sexless marriage.
Yeah.
But the other thing I see a lot in younger marriages is there are babies sleeping, co-sleeping, and or parents going to babies' rooms and falling asleep in their bed. Their snoring is an issue. I have wives that are like, he won't leave me alone. I have moved to another room. I can't make it stop. It's like predation. Like you're being preyed upon. So younger couples with the kids in the bed, I'm guilty of that though.
Yeah.
Because my kid stopped breathing.
I'm saying this, and I've heard this all my life, and I've lived it. I've actually lived it, and I can tell stories if you like, but men cheat for the act. Women emotionally cheat. A man...
I would agree with that.
And I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say it. Many might not agree, but the times I cheated, it's just because I wanted sex. It wasn't that I was looking for a wife or I was looking for the next, relationship. When I did it, it's because I wasn't getting sex at home, right? And so I needed sex. I wanted sex. And I found somebody that would. But with no emotional attachment. I would agree with. I have that same experience with my guys that are addicted to sex. Yeah.
There is no... I have a guy that he goes to intentionally different people so he doesn't catch feelings for any one favorite prostitute. And... he adores his wife and dotes on her, and they still have a very happy, healthy sex life. Yeah. It's just he's got sex addiction, and yeah. But then it's like, you get, and that was in my 20s and 30s, and you get labeled as having a sex addiction, and it's like, no, I have a healthy sex drive. And so I want that satisfied, and I'm trying to get it satisfied at home, but it's not being, so what do? And then you watch porn, and it's like you try that, and it's like, okay, that's not satisfying. You need that touch, that intimacy, that, whatever. Let me touch on that for a second, because I work with people that have really high sex drives, and they're partnered with someone that doesn't have a high sex drive at all. Like, they could go months and months and who cares, right? This is not a good match. Especially if you're a young couple. Yes. This is not a good match, because there are people, if you're bisexual and you're interested in having a polyamorous marriage, there is somebody amazing in the world that will do that with you. So go find those people. If you have a really high sex drive and you know you have a high sex drive and you're like a person that wants it every day, maybe multiple times a day, go find that person because they are in the world. But if you're like, this is the other thing that leads to like sex addiction, porn addiction, is like if you're partnered with a person, especially early in the marriage, and they're just like not interested and you're only having sex just to have babies.
Right.
Because I've had that too. Like,
yeah.
Time to have a baby. It's been 2 years.
Yep. Next one.
I mean, you either gotta, there are tests too. Like, so anyway, let me finish that thought, is that young marriages, if one of you has a high libido and the other does not, then this is not a good match, and that you need to check that like before you get married and before you start having babies. Like, you guys have to be properly yoked in the bedroom. You have to be, and it's so important to have that conversation before you even catch feelings and fall in love with somebody. Like,
for sure.
Don't tell me you love me unless we've had the conversation. What are the expectations? Like,
but we got to be careful of the honeymoon period, because, you know, that honeymoon period, everybody's on their best behavior. The representative's showing up, and they're being, and so, you know, that person's being exactly who you want them to be because you want them to fall in love with you, or you're starting to catch feelings. So I'm going to cater and do all these things, but that's not really you. And then all of a sudden, 90 days down the line, honeymoon's over.
Yeah.
Hey, can you give me a beer? Hell no, get it yourself. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you gotta be careful.
This is a true story. My first husband, the kid's dad, ate Chinese with me for an entire year because I lived in Michigan and he lived in Ohio, and he'd drive every weekend to see me. Ate Chinese with me every single Saturday night for a year on the Saturdays that he was there, and he was there a lot. And then we got married, and I was like, Chinese today? He was like, hate it. What? Wait, what?
What happened?
You hate Chinese food?
Perfect example.
Hate it. Never liked it. I just went because I'm married, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I love Chinese food.
Right.
You lied this whole time? My whole life is a lie. My whole marriage is a lie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's
so
it's definitely true.
So I would say on sex, and when you're addicted to pornography, and this, I don't know how to articulate this, so I'm going to ask for your help. But your brain now is wired, and we talked about this last week, but I feel like I would just want to flush it out just a little bit more. Like, you need higher dopamine hits. The brain, you are able to go back and be normal and desire the wife, but that doesn't mean it's gonna still have to be creative. You can have a normal sex life. You can turn this thing around. For you young guys that have been watching porn and now things are not working the way, you can't get erections, you can't finish, they call it, that you can't ejaculate because, you know, or maybe there's only one way you can, whatever. Yeah, everything changes. Your physical body changes and it acclimates to porn and sex addiction. But, what was I saying? I just totally looked at my notes and I lost it.
Yeah, and when it gets to that escalation point we was talking about of looking at different things, you start.
You're going to be.
The normal ain't gonna satisfy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missionary. Am I allowed to say this stuff?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Like the missionary doggy style, like just the whatever. You're gonna need some things. You're gonna need some creativity. Okay, let's talk about for a second on creativity. I have never, not one single time in my 20 plus years of practicing, met a couple that was successful swinging or inviting a third party when you don't normally do that thing. I've always met couples that, well, we're bored, we want to spice things up, we thought swinging, we try swinging, and the marriage ends. Unless you've had that, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Unless you've had that conversation in the beginning,
even if
but you
haven't.
invite it later in life. Okay, so you've had the same experience. I have never seen group sex in a marriage that turned. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, so don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying if you have a monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
And later on, you're trying to spice things up and you bring a friend in. I have never seen that be successful in all of the couples I've worked with, ever.
There's a level of emotions and jealousy and all kinds of things.
The husband always ends up with the girlfriend. Like, what are you doing? Don't invite your girlfriend to the bed.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. And
On the child, go ahead.
No, I just was saying that it's always emotional and, bringing it. And that goes back to, like, if you're a man having a threesome with two women and you're bringing a person into your, relationship you've had already established.
Birthday present.
Yeah, well, then some things start going.
You
and
just opened a can of worms there, birthday girl.
Yep, and things start going and, emotions run high and you really thought maybe you could handle seeing your man with somebody else and that ain't happening. So
yeah, tomorrow
I've seen it go wrong.
It's going to be a
lot.
very different idea about, oh my gosh, I am so sweaty.
I definitely seen these things go wrong, really. And maybe some are successful. Like now, back in our day, the poly relationship with two women and a man or three women and a man, I guess it existed. We just existed, but now it's like more prominent because of the internet too. We know more about it. There's even a show on, TV about it, Sister Wives or something like that. This dude has like 5 wives.
And I don't think we're really talking about polyamory. We're not talking about that because that's expected and that's an upfront in the middle before anything goes on conversation.
For sure.
We're talking about monogamous relationships.
Having a threesome, Bring somebody in.
Bring in your friends or hire someone, an escort or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never seen that be successful going from monogamy to polygamy and then back to is that the right word, polygamy?
I think so.
Poly.
I mean, there's some successful poly relationships. A lot of people very successful.
I have met some very successful folks, and their husbands have their husbands have girlfriends, and they're in love, and they travel together and do dinners together, and all kinds of things, and it works. It works for them.
Hey, as long as you're having those conversations and upfront and communicating about it.
So we're not talking about poly at all. We're talking about later in the road. Down the road, you bring someone in and it's like it's a disaster every time. It always in my experience it ends the relationship. So if you're thinking about bringing in a third party, don't do that thing. Call a therapist, find a therapist, talk to somebody.
Have some heavy discussions. Have some heavy discussions. Yeah, it's fun in the moment, but the after effects are deadly. Yeah.
All right, and then we don't. Can you believe what time it is?
It's almost there, yeah.
How did that?
It flies.
Listen, time is weird right now. It's moving so much faster than ever. One more thing, and this would go into abuse, children, and maybe that's for a different day, but the pedophiles and your brain gets wired and seeing, and it starts with porn and eventually it ends up with more than that, touching children. I don't even know how to have that conversation. It's a hard one. Children.
It's hard. It's definitely a hard topic.
Well, they fall in love with their abusers.
Yeah. Because
your body is things are supposed to feel good when it's being touched, and they don't understand that. And that's that whole father, well, I want to teach my kid how to have sex. It's my job. Know that. It's not. What? No.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
And if you know it's happening, just call someone. And moms, fair warning, if you fail to protect and Children's Services is called in, you risk losing your children for failure to protect. That is a thing. When I worked in domestic violence, I saw it happen. I see it happen all the time now when kids are getting abused. If the other parent isn't stepping in and doing something about it, you are just as guilty for not stopping it. So the whole child porn, sex trafficking of children is bigger and meaner and grosser and monstrous, and it just leads to things that you would never think you would do. Never.
Yeah. And I don't have any experience. I wasn't sexually abused as a child, but I was emotionally, physically, and mentally abused, and it stuck with me for life. There's things that I had to, it wasn't until I was in my 40s was able to process and heal from. And so, you know, when those things happen, damage occurs. And I'm not blaming my addiction on it, but it was a motivating factor. It definitely drove a lot of my thought process when it came to addiction. And there's things that, you know, do come out of sexual abuse of a child as far as addictions goes, you know. And so,
and I'm not saying
we just have to be, yeah, it's wrong any way you look at it. I'm sorry. You know, because children well, for me, I'll say for me, I looked up to my parents to love me, to guide me, to teach me the right way, you know, to show me how to, you know, do things. My father, you know, give me manly advice. My mother be there, you know, when I was crying. But I never had those type of, you know, things. And so when the people you love the most are hurting you the most, man, it's a terrible. I had a terrible terrible childhood with those things, like the abuse of my mother and abuse of, it was things that really stuck with me for life, and I had to get over and get through therapy, through, you know, AA. We've talked about that, and just like different things. So these things stick with you. They really damage children. So.
And I want to go back to what I said about when you start to abuse a child at an early age, there are children that do fall in love with their abuser. And that's a phenomenon. That's not everybody. And so, again, don't shoot the messenger. This is for educational purposes. I think it's an important topic that maybe we'll touch on some more. But it is part of, I think it's important for us to address it because it is part of the addiction. It's the worst part of the addiction, I think.
Yeah. And we have to be diligent. We have to be in our communities. You know, they're snatching kids, teenagers right in our community. So be diligent. Be a part of the community. Be on the lookout. If you see these things, please report them. Please let people know. Or if you hear of anything like that, please report it to the proper authorities. Because no child deserves to be treated like that.
And kids that are watching, if any part of any of this, there is help. Women find, and that's not to say men are,
sure.
You know, it's just women, we have that empathy bone that we're going to do everything in our power to help you get help. So a teacher, just someone you trust. And so on that note, there's a show. It's called Safe Side Adult by the guy that created Adam Walsh. What do you remember the Adam Walsh where he was kidnapped and murdered when
he started America's Most Wanted?
Yes, that show.
Yep.
So he did a video. You should get this video. But you can find this video. It's on YouTube. It's called Safe Side Adult. And it teaches kids to find, and parents find 3 grown-ups that their kids can trust. And those are the only people you're allowed to get in a car with. And then it also teaches the difference between I don't know you, I kind of know you, and you're a safe side grown-up. So I can go anywhere you want, and it's only these 3 people. But kind of knows are people like teachers, coaches, priests, and then don't knows are I don't have any idea who you are. I am not going anywhere with you.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's called Safe Side Adult. You can find it on YouTube. It's the guy that started America's Most Wanted. What's his name? Walsh something.
Adam Walsh, I think.
Well, Adam Walsh was
his child. Yeah. What?
I don't know what his name is,
remember.
but it's called Safe Side Adult, and you can find it on YouTube. So. Kids that are watching, there are phone numbers that you can find. Just Google. Google is your friend. No grown-up should be touching you. It's not okay. It's absolutely not okay. And
Yep.
if it's confusing and it feels like love or this person loves you, it's still not okay. So find a trusted grown-up and talk to your grown-ups.
Yep. Definitely.
We didn't get to any of this stuff.
I know.
We just went on
we just
some
rolling.
big old tangent.
Yeah, things went on different ways, so that's good.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a therapist, we are starting a sex and porn addiction. Well, James is.
Group.
Yeah, it's bigger and more prevalent with men. So yeah.
Yep.
Nothing we say is biblical.
No.
Like when we do groups, we're talking to a whole lot of people with a whole lot of different experiences. So I say just take away what belongs to you or what makes sense for you and leave the rest behind. It's not meant for you. It's not yours. Don't take it. Don't walk away with something that doesn't make sense for you. We're not here to offend anybody or judge anybody. Like whatever your thing is, your thing is. If you need help with porn and sex addiction, call us, let us know. We can help children find a trusted adult. And
I mean, listen, porn is relatively new. We're navigating new waters. Like alcohol's been around forever, you know. Alcohol's been around forever, you know what I mean, and heroin and all the cocaine, but you know,
prostitution's as old as dirt.
Well, yeah.
Which I think should be legalized.
Legalized?
Oh hell yes.
Well, there we go. We're on the same page on
prostitution.
that one. No, but no, I'm just saying the whole porn addiction thing came with the internet. So this is like
and
new.
And it's part of prostitution too.
This is
Women
like
are
new
being
waters.
trafficked because it's not legal.
Yeah, these are
but
new
if it
waters.
could be legal and unionize it and make it make sense and have people checked for diseases and, you know, people are doing it for drugs. People are doing drugs that would never in a million years prostitute themselves.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they're being trafficked because there's no safe way to do it. Nevada got it right. I just watched a documentary on that.
Oh, Nevada?
Prostitution, legalized
prostitution.
Okay. And I gotta tell you, they've got a great argument.
Yeah, they're doing it.
They're
doing it out there, yeah.
Nevada has, done it all this time. But
yeah.
I think there's a really good argument for legalizing prostitution. Really good argument. So I'll send you the documentary.
All right.
Interested.
All right.
What else? What else you got?
That's it. I'm good to go for today.
It's 6:05.
Yeah.
So thank you, everybody. We always try to just help one person. And again, whatever doesn't belong to you, just leave it.
Have fun. Have fun. We've been doing this for years. We're just putting it on camera. We've been having these. We've been having these type of conversations for years, but we're just putting it on camera now, so and having fun with it. So and hoping you guys can learn something or we can teach something. But we're always open to comments, you know, questions. If email, send us, you know, get in contact with us if you need therapy. We're going to be starting a lot of different groups here shortly. It's coming for the summer, so.
And there's going to be a part 3.
Part 3.
Today went on some big old tangent and didn't even get to our notes.
That's
so
it.
There's going to be a part 3. So
Part 3 next week. See y'all.
Everyone.
All right.